Leviticus 26. Reward for obeying the Lord. Do not make statues of gods for yourselves. Do not set up a likeness of a god or a sacred stone for yourselves. Do not place a carved stone in your land and bow down in front of it. I am the Lord your God. You must always keep my Sabbath days. Have respect for my sacred tent. I am the Lord. Follow my rules. Be careful to obey my commands. Then I will send you rain at the right time. The ground will produce its crops. The trees will bear their fruit. You'll continue to harvest your grain until you gather your grapes. You'll continue to gather your grapes until you plant your crops. You'll have all you want to eat, and you will live in safety in your land. I will give you peace in the land. You'll be able to sleep because no one will make you afraid. I will remove wild animals from the land. There will not be any war in your country. You will hunt down your enemies. You will kill them with your swords. 5 of you will chase 100, and 100 of you will chase 10,000. You will kill your enemies with your swords. I'll bless you. I will give you many children so that there will be many of you. And I will be faithful to the covenant I made with you. You will still be eating last year's crops when you will have to make room for new crops. I will live among you. I will not turn away from you. I will walk among you. I will be your God, and you will be my people. I am the Lord your God. I brought you out of Egypt. I did not want you to be slave in Egypt anymore. I threw off your heavy load. I helped you walk with your heads held high. Punishment for not obeying the Lord. On the other hand, suppose you do not listen to me. Suppose you do not carry out all my commands. Suppose you say no to my laws and turn away from my laws. And suppose you break my covenant by failing to carry out all my commands. Then here is what I will do to you. All at once I will bring terror on you. I will send sicknesses that will make you weak. I will send the fever that will destroy your sight. It will slowly take your strength away. When you plant seeds, it will not do you any good. Instead, your enemies will eat what you have planted. I will turn against you. Then your enemies will win the battle over you. Those who hate you will rule over you. You will run away even when no one is chasing you. After all that, suppose you still will not listen to me. Then I will punish you for your sins 7 times. I will break down your stubborn pride. I will make the sky above you like iron, and it will not rain. I will make the ground under you like bronze, and you will not be able to farm it. You will work with all your strength, but it will not do you any good. That is because your soil will not produce any crops. The trees of your land will not bear any fruit. Suppose you continue to be my enemy, and suppose you still refuse to listen to me, then I will multiply your troubles many times because of your sins. I'll send wild animals against you. They will kill your children. They will destroy your cattle. There will be so few of you left that your road will be deserted. After all those things, suppose you still do not accept my warnings. Suppose you continue to be my enemy, then I myself will be your enemy. I'll make you suffer again and again for your sins. I'll send war against you to punish you for breaking my covenant. When you go back into your cities, I will send a plague among you. You will be handed over to your enemies. I will cut off your supply of bread. 10 women will need only one oven to bake your bread. Then weigh out the bread piece by piece. Even when you eat all of it, it will not be enough to satisfy you. After all that, suppose you still do not listen to me, and suppose you continue to be my enemy, then I will be angry with you. I'll be your enemy. I myself will again punish you for your sins over and over. You will eat the dead bodies of your sons. You will also eat the dead bodies of your daughters. I will destroy the high places where you worship other gods. I'll pull down your incense altars. I piled up your dead bodies on the rightful status of your gods, and I will turn away from you. I'll completely destroy your cities. I'll destroy your places of worship. The pleasant smell of your offerings will not give me any delight. I myself will destroy your land so completely that your enemies who live there will be shocked. I'll scatter you among the nations. I'll pull out my sword and hunt you down. Your land and your cities will be completely destroyed. Then the deserted land will enjoy its Sabbath years. It will rest. It will not be farmed. It will enjoy its Sabbath. But you will become prisoners in the country of your enemies. The land will rest the whole time it is deserted. It was not able to rest during the Sabbath you lived in it. Some of you will be left in the lands of your enemies. I will fill your heart with fear. The sounds of the rift blown by the wind will scare you away. You will run as if you were escaping from swords. You will fall down even though no one is chasing you. You will trip over one another as if you were running away from the battle. You will run away even though no one is chasing you. You will not be able to stand and fight against your enemies. While you are still scattered among the nations, you will die. The lands of your enemies will destroy you. You who are left in those lands will become weaker and weaker. You will die because of your sins and the sins of your people who lived before you. But suppose you admit that both you and your people who lived before you have sinned, You admit evil and dishonest things you have done against me, and you admit you have become my enemy. What you did made me become your enemy. I let your enemy take you into their land. But suppose you stop being stubborn, you stop being proud, and you pray for your sin, you pay for your sin, then I will remember my covenant with Jacob. I will remember my covenant with Isaac. I will remember my covenant with Abraham. I remember what I said to them about the land. You will leave the land. You will enjoy its Sabbath while it lies deserted because you are not there. You'll pay for your sins because you said no to my laws. You turned away from my rules, but even after all that, I will not say no to you or turn away from you. I will not destroy you completely in the land of your enemies. I will not break my covenant with you. I am the Lord of your God. Because of you, I remember the covenant I made with the people of Israel who lived before you. I brought them out of Egypt to be their God. The nations saw me do it. I am the Lord. These are the orders, the laws, and the rules of covenant the Lord made on Mount Sinai. He made it between himself and Israel through Moses. Leviticus 27. Keep your promise to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites, tell them, suppose someone make a special promise to set a person apart to serve the Lord. Here is how much it will cost to set the person free from the promise to serve. The cost for a man between the age of 20 and 60 is 20 ounces of silver. It must be weighed out in keeping with the standard weight that are used in the sacred tent. The cost for a female of the same age is 12 ounces of silver. The cost for a male between the age of 5 and 20 is 8 ounces of silver. The cost for a female of the same age is 4 ounces of silver. The cost for a male between the age of 1 month and 5 years is 2 ounces of silver. The cost for a female of the same age is 1 ounce of silver. The cost for a male who is a 60-year-old or more is 6 ounces of silver. The cost for a female of the same age is 4 ounces of silver. But suppose the one who makes the special promise is too poor to pay the required amount, then they must bring to the priest the person who will be set free. The priest will decide the right value for that person. It will be based on how much the one who makes the promise can afford. Suppose what they promised is an animal that the Lord will accept as an offering. Then the animal given to the Lord becomes holy. The one who makes the promise must not trade it. They must not trade the good animal for a bad one, and they must not trade the bad animal for a good one. Suppose they choose one animal instead of another, then both animals become holy. Suppose the animal they promised is not clean. Suppose the Lord will not accept it as an offering. The animal must be brought to the priest. He will decide whether it is good or bad. Its value will vary what he decided it will be. Suppose the owner wants to buy the animal back. Then a fifth must be added to each cost. Suppose someone sets apart their house as something holy to the Lord. Then the priest will decide whether it is good or bad. Each value will remain what he decides it will be. Suppose the person sets apart their house, and suppose later they want to buy back, then they must add a fifth to each value. The house will belong to them again. Suppose someone sets apart a piece of their family land to the Lord. Then here is how each value must be decided. It must be based on the number of seeds that are required to grow a full crop on it. The value will be 20 ounces of silver for every 300 pounds of variable seed. Suppose they set apart their field during the year of Jubilee. Then the value that has been decided will not be changed. But suppose they set apart their field after the year of Jubilee, then here is how the priest will decide each value. It will be based on the number of years that are left until the next year of Jubilee. The value decided will be reduced. Suppose the one who set apart their field wants to buy it back. Then they must add a fifth to each value. The field will belong to them again. But suppose they do not buy back the field. Instead, suppose they sell it to someone else. Then they can never buy it back. When the field is set free in the year of Jubilee, it will become holy. It will be like a field set apart to the Lord. It will become the property of the priest. Suppose someone sets apart to the Lord a field they have bought, and suppose it is not part of their family's land. Then here is how the priest will decide each value. It will be based on the number of years that are left until the year of Jubilee. The owner must pay that value on the day it is decided. The money is holy. It is set apart for the Lord. In the year of Jubilee, the field will go back to the person it was bought from. The person is the one who had owned the land before. Every amount of money must be weighed out in keeping with the standard weight must used in the sacred tent. But no one can set apart the first male animal born to each mother. The animal already belongs to the Lord. It does not matter whether it is an ox or a sheep. It belongs to the Lord. Suppose it is an unclean animal, then the owner may buy it back at the value that has been decided, and they must add a fifth to each value. But suppose it is not bought back, then it must be sold at the value that has been decided. But nothing a person owns and sets apart to the Lord can be sold or bought back. It does not matter whether it is a human being or an animal or a family land. Everything set apart to the Lord is very holy to Him. No one set apart kept in a special way to be destroyed can be bought back. They must be put to death. 1/10 of everything the land produces belongs to the Lord. That includes grain from the soil and fruit from the trees. It is holy. It is set apart for him. Suppose someone wants to buy back some of their tenths, then they must add 1/5 of the cost to it. Every 10th part of herd of flocks will be holy. They will be set apart for the Lord. That includes every 10th animal that is shepherd marks with his wooden staff. No one may pick out the good animals from the bad. They must not choose one animal instead of another. But if anyone does, both animals become holy. They can't be bought back. The Lord gave Moses all these commands on Mount Sinai for the Israelites.